All right, we've got a pretty nice day out today. Doors are open on the garage. Got the ramp truck pushed out because we need to clean up this absolute EPA disaster of a mess. Got a bunch of kitty litter laying out. Hopefully we should be able to clean all that up. This is all rain from the last few days. And got the truck sprayed down with a bunch of purple power. People have been saying I should use that. Normally I'd use oven cleaner. That's what we got soaking on it right now. Gonna try and clean a few spots on the grill too where we got some mold growing. Should be able to clean that thing up. Hit these fenders and just degrease everything. And then we'll push it back inside and start test fitting that behemoth of a motor back there. Sorry, engine. Behemoth of an engine back here. Some people get really upset when you say motor for internal combustion engine. And to those people, I'd say you should worry more about trying to have. So we got our 496 cubic inch motor here, get fucked. I asked Dave if he wanted to paint it. He said, I don't really care. I tell you what, this was fun to move out of the garage by myself. It actually rolled pretty easy. I was able to just pull it, and then I'd put a block behind the tire like there, and then put another one a few feet back, knock that one out of the way, let it slowly roll back, hit the block, and then just keep doing that. Same way the Egyptians built the pyramids. Same way Fords built their motors. One step at a time. So anyway, enough rambling. I'm gonna get this thing power washed. Hopefully it looks perfect, and I'll get the floor cleaned up. We'll push it back inside, get back to work on it.
That's bad.
Got the truck all power washed, cleaned up pretty good. That back cross member, I'm probably just gonna have to scrape that clean, but everything else seemed to clean up pretty good. Talked to Dave a little bit last night about how much of this he wants to paint, and he said for now let's just worry about the chassis and all that deal. Inner fenders might leave. I might still try and splash some black on them. We'll see. The problem with doing that is it really becomes a trickle effect. Like you paint the inner fender, you have to paint the outside of the inner fender, you do that, you might as well paint this, you do that, you might as well paint the whole core support. It trickles. So we might stick with just doing the chassis, keep everything else kind of, I don't really want to say period correct, but like the truck has a look to it, so we'll see. But I'm not going to do that yet. We'll probably wait to paint until after we get the motor mounts and everything figured out. Trans mount should be pretty simple. Worst case scenario, I have to make a new one. Not a huge deal. This whole thing was offset so much. That's crazy. Like if you look, here's the center of the grill, center of the truck, and then the tunnel is way over there. And like looking at the cross member and the motor mounts, everything's way passenger side. Like it's the same way in Jack Black. That motor is about 2 inches off center, but this one looks like it might be a lot more than that. Anyway, before we get distracted again, I need to get this thing unloaded and see about test fitting it in the truck and kind of see where things line up. I think, depending on how safe things feel on the engine hoist, I might try to leave it together, and if it fits in there somewhat reasonably, then I'll just leave it all together while we're test fitting things. But yeah, anyway, next up, get that thing unloaded, put the motor mounts on the block, and try and stab it in here, see where things look. Boy, this thing is heavy and hard to move. So the engine here is roughly 770 pounds with the transmission that puts it like around 950, give or take, 970, somewhere around there. Close to 1,000 pounds. So this thing is just a pain in the butt to move on this ancient old engine hoist. I don't even remember where this thing's from, but it's a hand-me-down. And I am a little worried about trying to stuff this whole thing down there as a unit. But I think it will be better in the long run to try that, to make sure that the engine's not too far back, that the bell housing of the trans isn't going to clear, or that I get the engine set in here and it's a little crooked, things like that. So I think it would be better to try to leave it together, as much as I don't want to do that. And I'd like to leave the exhaust manifolds on to make sure that those are going to clear. I mean, they're tight enough to the motor that they should clear going in and out, no problem. But I think that to get the angle of our dangle that we need, I'm going to pull the throttle body off before that gets broken, because this is probably going to be way up into this bar. And I did pull the power steering off to get the chain bolted up here. I wanted to make sure that I had a nice strong bolt for it. Luckily, these ones have the cast intake and they're not plastic like the LS's, because in LS this would have broke through for sure. So yeah, we're going to pull the throttle body off, pull the motor mounts off, get those new ones on, and then I think we'll try to stuff this thing in there. I wonder how close those actually are to small block Chevy mounts. Actually, do I still have some over here? I know I used to. I might have got rid of them. Here they are. Whoa! Whoa! These are off the big block from Jack. Similar, not exact. The bolt hole, let's see how I can do this. Yeah, the bolt hole on the small block Chevy, well, I guess big block, I don't know. This one is a little bit taller. I know that they make a couple different heights, but aside from that, fairly similar. Bolts right up. Interesting. All right. Then I got the throttle body off and the hole plugged so that nothing gets dropped down in there. Got to pull the frame mount off of that. And then I guess we're ready to test fit. You know, gotta be honest with you, not a big fan of this. Not really into this. I think it's not quite all the way up, but it's pretty dang close. And we have to go another 10 inches, give or take. And then also try and push this thing ahead. I could probably roll the truck ahead, but yeah, not too thrilled about this. I know that I could like air down the tires, or even if it came to it, take the front tires right off. But then I can't move the truck. So then I have to shimmy the engine hoist ahead. Let's see if I... Does this have discs or drums? Probably discs, right? Yeah, big ass discs. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to pull the wheels off this thing. I don't think just airing them down. I think airing them down, it'll only drop it to like there. All right, I'm gonna take a second and figure this out real quick. Trying to keep things kind of safe and not destroy Dave's truck. Take two. I ended up pulling the brake drum setup off this thing so that we can go back like another 4 inches. Then we should be able to drop her on the pan. Sneak it in there.
Alright, we're below it. Yeah, I think her condom broke.
Yep. Too far driver's side. Uh-oh.
What?
We're into the bumper.
Oh. Jeez, Claire.
Alright, it's slowly getting in place. It is a little bit of a fight. We need to go down and back, and we can't go back until we go down. We can't go down until we go back.
Sitting up there on the top.
Fuck. Should be able to pop that off. I'm gonna have to come back ahead though a little bit to get the bolt.
Oh, on this side, it's sitting on the starboard.
Already? Yeah, I might have to pull these frame mounts off, actually.
Old motor route?
Yeah, yeah, I think gonna have to. Good thing this thing's easy to get in and out, eh?
Which is why it's not going backwards.
Yeah, so he's saying that right now the tail shaft of the transmission is going into the stock fuel tank. Well, we can go back like another 4 or 5 inches before it starts
Why
to...
ain't it moving back 4 or 5 inches? Something's stopping it.
Yeah, it's probably catching on one of those cross members or the transmission's up into the body. I think we just have to cut these mounts out and see what we're catching on to move it back and roughly where it needs to sit, and then check the steering. Still want it to go back about another inch and a half just for radiator and fan spacing, but this is about where it's going to live. Exhaust might cut a little notch out of the upper frame rail there, just a little bit to clear the exhaust there. Steering box is touching the heat shield, but that's good. Nice and level. So now we need to jack it up, get the wheels back on it, push it ahead, and crawl under it, start messing with the transmission mount, because that is what is stopping us from going back any further. Is there's not enough room between the cross member and the trans tunnel, so you try and jack the transmission up to clear the cross member and it pushes into the tunnel, and obviously we can't go any lower because the cross member. But yeah, we're in place, we're still above the steering, can't really see hopefully, so let's get some wheels on and push this thing ahead.
Yeah, I'm definitely have to pull that fucking tank out of there. You never get the drum back on it.
No. Yeah, like I said, that tank's coming out anyway, and we're putting the fuel cell back under the bed there. That should clear. I think it'll be tilting so much that...
Yeah, we're talking about bringing this down, what, 4 inches?
Yeah, but we'll space it up with the motor mount.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like it might only drop an inch, 2 inches.
Put the jack down a little.
Alright. Oh, I can't really see.
It's about one is about to fall off of these anyways.
Keep going?
Keep going. Keep going. Alright, you can pull it out of there.
Is it sitting on that front cross member?
Not yet.
Alright. Must just be the exhaust on the frame holding it then. Ooh, our block's kind of tilting.
Yeah, I know, because I was just moving the tranny from side to side,
Oh.
watching it come backwards a little.
Alright, got the truck pushed ahead. Fuel tank is out. That guy right there, all rusted, so we're replacing it with a cell. Actually, maybe 2 cells. Got the trans cross member out. Now we can hopefully get this thing back to about where we want it, about where we need it, and then start making up some mounts for it. Alright, got the engine in place, got our angle that we're happy with it. It's down a little bit, rear sump. We had to, I mean, it's not really a whole lot we can do with that. We can't go down anymore because it'll sit on the steering. We also can't go down anymore because then there'd be a spark plug you'd never be able to change behind the steering box there. This manifold, like let's say this is the top of the frame rail, the exhaust like a quarter intersects it. So might have to ding it or do something a little weird with the exhaust there. Probably just ding it and call it a day. But yeah, this is where we're at. Now I get to do the fun part of making the motor mounts. We can see just here how far off that sucks. Yep, gonna have to trim this side. How close are we on the other side? Yeah, this side's about Need to be about a 1/2 inch longer. So I have to figure something out for this. And this side will be easy. We'll just cut these down and just weld them right to that cross member. But we're moving right along pretty good. Still have about 16 days left from right now to when he would like to pick it up, so that he can take it to like a car show, or I think he said a car show. I'm sure it wouldn't be the end of the world if we missed it, but I think we should be able to do this in a little over 2 weeks. Ugh, when you put it like that. 16 days sounds better. All right, got the motor mounts made. I'm just trying to get this back one tacked in. As you can see, just trying to get this back side tacked in so I can weld that. And then I will do this front one. This front one lands over the hole, so I'm going to weld this little plate underneath of it. Actually, I'm probably going to weld it to this plate and then get it in place, and then weld the edges of the plate in place. I think that's going to be my plan for that. So yeah, I'm just going to get this welded up. That'll kind of locate it permanently, and then I can start making the other side. Now for the other side, these plates that come with the motor mounts are not long enough, so I went and unburied this. This is 1/4 inch by I think 2. I just crushed my pinky. That was fun. Might be 3/16, but I think it's 1/4 by 2, and it is very solid. So I'll get that cut and to the length we need, and then just do about the same thing on this side. Boop, boop. I got the passenger side motor mount all made. Here is our driver's side. Nice 1/4 inch plate, nice little gusset there. This thing will be plenty strong enough. I want to make sure with that gusset that it wasn't going to wiggle or anything. So now I just have to get this bolted in and in place, and then I'll weld it to the cross member. We're good to go. All right, this thing is officially mounted in this truck. That's right. We got an 8.1 big block in this Ford F-350. F-Tree Kitty, some would say. Also squirted the chassis black, make sure none of the welds rust. We're looking pretty dang good. So now I'm gonna get started on making the mount for the transmission. Got the rubber mount back on here, so we're gonna use that to mount it. And it's looking pretty much straight across, like I can just cut a bar, weld some tabs on it, and pretty much call it a day. So let's see if we can find some material to use for this. So like I said, I've got that. Oh, hey. That looks like it'll work perfect, actually. Yeah, something just like that. I'll just use this instead of making one. That'll be perfect. Splash some paint on this thing. We're good to go. This might actually be one of the beefiest transmission mounts I've ever made. It's a 1/4 inch plate on the ends, and I think this tubing is probably pretty close to 1/4 inch thick too. Yeah, it's pretty thick. So this thing is incredibly robust. So I'm gonna splash some black on it, get it bolted up, and then we are all mounted. All right. We'll let that dry and get it bolted in. All right, transmission's all bolted up, engine's bolted up. We're under our own weight. Good to go. Now we can do literally everything else. All right, so it really wasn't too bad to get this thing in there once we just accepted our fate of this thing being absolutely enormous. But you can see it's at 0, so it's perfectly level. It's about 4 degrees, 4.5 degrees sloped down. I think probably the worst part of it was all of the torrential downpours that were happening, and the water kept running right down the bed of the truck and making a huge puddle here, so I kept laying in water and transmission fluid and all sorts of stuff. So that was a lot of fun. If I had just moved this stuff out of the way, I probably could have moved this thing all the way in here. So anyway, next things to do, like I said earlier, fuel system, which is going to be mounting that 20-gallon cell along with another 20-gallon cell under the bed here. So we'll get those tucked up under, connect them so that it's basically a 40-gallon cell with 2 tanks. Connect them so that we've got 40 gallons on the tap. You know, if this thing gets, I mean, theoretically, if it got 10, that would allow this thing to have about a 400-mile range. It'll probably get closer to like 8 or so. So yeah, fuel system, put in the wiring harness, exhaust system, cooling, and then fluids, filters, power steering pump, and adapt the lines to that because we're going to be using the stock power steering pump for the 8.1 to the Ford steering box. But nothing a little creativity can't take care of. But yeah, that is going to do it for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and clicking that bell to get notifications. I'll see you next time.